go. Okay, Good Doctor Season 1, Episode 1, Burnt Food. Now we'll give my most honest commentary, good and bad. I know a lot of you really like this show. I'm still gonna be honest. If I don't like something or I think something's bad, I'll be honest, I'll tell you. I can be pretty critical of these medical shows, so I'll try to be kind but honest. Okay, so I'm gonna be paying close attention to how they portray him and how they portray the autism. And I understand, like, he's a savant, so one thing to keep in mind, because I know that there's a lot of presentations of autistic people in popular media that show the savant portion of it and highlight the savant portion of it, which is actually quite rare. So, you have to keep in mind autism is on a spectrum. It used to be that there were more concrete categories, and then as we learn more and more about it, we realize this is not like necessarily a concrete diagnosis. Like, people exist on a spectrum here. So I'm assuming he's going to be pretty high functioning and then also have the savant aspect where he's, genius at certain things. So he's not going to represent all people with autism, but I'm hopeful that they do a good job of presenting
to San Jose International Airport.
The challenges that may be associated with that, and not just make him a genius. Okay. Of course, the most insane thing ever happens because it's TV.
Somebody call 911!
He's a cutie.
Let me take a look. His jugular vein's been cut.
Does anyone have a clean cloth? Please, someone.
I have a fresh change of clothes in my bag.
That's
My
great.
mom's psychologist said the autistic part is really realistic. Okay, cool. Good, that's good to know. Okay, so this kid got hit with a bunch of glass. His jugular vein is open, which is... He's going to bleed out.
His life, he was
fast.
bleeding out.
You have it in the wrong place.
I think I remember enough of Anatomy 101 to know what the jugular vein is.
You would be in the right
too.
place if he were an adult. He's not an adult. He is a boy, which means you're also putting pressure on his trachea, which means he's not currently breathing. You have to put the pressure higher up.
Okay, just a full disclosure, I'm not a pediatrician. I cannot really comment on some of the pediatric specific stuff that they're talking about, but I could see theoretically how pushing too hard on the middle of the neck on a small neck could accidentally put too much pressure on the trachea. I think they're trying to show how smart he is because he's like, this guy's a doctor and he's telling another doctor how to do things.
Some glass. He'll be fine.
Who are you?
He'll be fine?
Hello. I'm Dr. Sean Murphy. I'm a surgical
does he know
resident
that?
at San Jose St. Bonaventure Hospital.
All right, I like the music. I like the drawings too. The anatomy drawings are cool.
Autism, a mental condition characterized by difficulty in communicating and using language and abstract concepts. That's the definition. Does it sound like I'm describing a surgeon?
He's not Rain Man.
Yes.
He's high functioning. He's capable of living on his own, capable of managing his own affairs.
Sorry, that's an internist joke. I'm an internist, not a surgeon. He says he has trouble with words and communicating. Does that sound like a surgeon? Yes.
Functioning. Is that our new hiring standard?
If it were, you wouldn't be here. I'm sorry. Is this really necessary? Really? A special meeting of the board of directors, as much as I love you all, questioning one of my hiring decisions? Did you bother to look up the definition of president while you were skimming the dictionary?
What's up,
You're
Patty?
hiring him to be a surgical resident. My department over my objections.
Marcus, stop making everything so
This is a weird
personal.
scene.
I made it personal.
You've wanted his job since day one. Everyone in this room knows that. And Aaron, yes, this is your hospital, but the money it takes to run it comes from the foundation I control. So let's all play nice, shall we? Stop acting like you're stunned that you're standing there. You tried to slip one past us.
I vetted him like I would any other.
Okay, so this is a very inaccurate scene, like highly inaccurate. That's not how residents are hired. And like nobody would be slipped through the board or whatever. So there's a process called the match. Every graduating medical student, their final year, like goes through all kinds of application processes. It's a centralized process. They go to interviews. It's all formalized. Everybody goes through the exact same process. It's designed to be the same for everybody, to make things fair and equal, and also to make sure that like everybody gets a spot if possible in what they want. And so it's called the match. So you like, you apply, you interview at like, 10, 15 different places. I remember being exhausted after the end of my residency interviews. And then you rank your list of all the places you interviewed. You rank from your number one choice all the way down to the final choice. And then all of the programs do exactly the same thing with all of the applicants that they got. And then it goes into a computer. Whoosh, computer spits out where everyone goes. So it's called the match. So they would have gone through all of that process already. He would have sent his application in. He would have interviewed there. They would have given their input in a board meeting like this earlier, and then ranked him in the match. There's no way that like some guy would secretly hire him and then they would have a board meeting just about him later and argue about whether he should be hired or not.
Other candidate.
And you generally thought
So
that
this
this
is for
board
drama.
wouldn't reasonably have any doubts about hiring a surgeon who's been diagnosed with autism.
Now this conversation may take place. This conversation may take place though about him in the match process. They just did it after he was already hired by the president to like create more drama. But that doesn't mean that the discussing an applicant like this doesn't happen. So they, especially if there's something like autism where they're concerned about, patient safety, isn't going to be able to do the job safely, etc. Yeah, they may talk about this when he's applying.
So justify your decision.
Back to your normal work schedule, Patty? Dude.
I met Sean Murphy
just
when
worked for,
he
like,
was 14
3
years
weeks straight,
old.
right?
I was living in Wyoming at the time. He was, and he still is,
Yes.
an extraordinary young
People-
man. Yes,
people
he has
sometimes
autism,
don't get
but
matched.
he also has savant syndrome. Genius-level
Then
skills
they have
in
to
several
scramble
areas. He has
whatever's left.
almost perfect recall. He has spatial intelligence, and he sees things and analyzes things in ways that are just remarkable, in ways that we can't even begin to understand. Those are assets, undeniable assets for any doctor, particularly a surgeon.
Okay, so they're gonna
I've known him since he was 14.
push the
You care about him.
genius
He's like a
savant
son to you.
angle quite a bit.
Dr. Andrews, your wife is going to be very upset with you. If you're trying to turn this into a nepotism case, we're going to have to fire her idiot nephew from bookkeeping.
Nice.
Hey. Sorry, you seen Claire?
Would you turn off the light?
Sure. You seen Claire?
Why? Would you turn off the light?
Melendez wants to operate on 104, but Claire hasn't gotten informed consent, and she's ignoring her page. You seen her?
No. Now go away and turn off the light.
Sure.
That was rude.
I need you to.
I heard.
Oh, I see.
Oh, she's such a bitch.
No. She just doesn't like you.
Okay, so like having like no respect for your sleep, your privacy, the light being on, all that stuff when you're in the call room is so true. Like, if you get any sleep in the call room, you're lucky as hell. Sneaking somebody into the call room to have sex with them definitely has happened. I've heard stories. I may or may not have done the same thing myself. Yeah, I mean, she was probably snuck in there, is my guess. I don't think this is like a shared call room type situation with men and women, but
maybe. To say for sure, I need to know what.
But yeah, people just walk in and they're like, "We need you out here." They don't care if you're sleeping.
Not silly at all. Quite a bit of fun, actually.
I meant no, we're hiding it. Our relationship?
Well, Jared, we don't have a relationship. We have sex. But
it's pretty realistic, I think.
you want to tell people that you're screwing me, go for it.
There's a lot of that. Like, these are super stressed out people who have no time for relationships. They live and breathe medicine. They work 90 hours a week. Then they study another 30 outside of the hospital. They have no time to date. But sex is a good stress release. Okay, what's going on here?
The veins in the boy's left arm are popping.
Is that bad?
I don't see.
Intrathoracic pressure.
No, his chest is rising. He's breathing.
No, the chest is moving paradoxically. The left lung is in distress.
So I love how they make the other doctor, who's basically like me, probably. He's like, just some random generic, regular old like primary care doctor, family doctor, internist or something, whatever. And they just he misses everything. He doesn't know how to do anything right. So far, he's messed up holding the vein in the neck. He's messed up like the physical exam signs. He doesn't see anything that Sean sees. Sean, right?
Yes. Who here has a sharp knife? Blade 5 inches or longer? Nobody? You should start artificial respiration. He's going to stop breathing very soon.
Okay. So, he's diagnosed on the spot a tension pneumothorax and claims he knows which lung it is. So, yeah, her face. I could maybe see like him diagnosing a tension pneumothorax on the spot if he's a genius, a savant, recognizing the signs before the other doctor. Sure, we'll give him that. Like, I think the show has a lot of latitude because they're saying he's a genius. But knowing which lung it is a stretch. He doesn't even have anything to listen to the lungs. He doesn't have a stethoscope. He's not able to auscultate. So he might be able to like say, okay, based on these exam signs, he has a tension pneumothorax, which is basically when air comes out of the lungs inside of the chest wall. And so now instead of air going into the bloodstream, it's going out of the lungs without ever going to the blood. And then on top of that, what makes it a tension pneumothorax is the air is now starting to surround the lung itself and collapse it and put pressure on the chest, put pressure on the lungs. If it gets high enough, it can even start putting pressure on your heart. And his suggestion of, he needs to be given respirations, if he really thinks, and he doesn't have any proof, he just thinks from looking at exam signs, if he really thinks that he has a tension pneumothorax, the first thing he needs to do is release the pressure of the air that's pushing in on the lungs. So he needs to like basically just put a needle in there immediately. Like stick a needle in there, make a little incision in there, like suck the air out. And now he's just walking away. So I'm not sure what's going on. What's your question, kids?
I feel fine.
Yeah, her
Dr.
face.
Melendez would like to do
That was
the
a good
surgery
pause.
today.
You need bypass surgery, quite urgent.
Oh, because of the side the veins were on? Yeah, that's not, that doesn't tell you which lung, though. That doesn't tell you which lung, unfortunately. That's not good enough. Like, that's not definitive enough information to now, like, go do something about it. You know, if he's going to, like, pop a needle in or, you know, try to save him. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Would you please sign the consent?
I'm guessing he will because it's a dramatic TV show.
You're scared.
I'm not scared.
Well, you should be. We're going to cut your chest open. We're going to stop your heart, repair it, and restart it.
Lately, it feels like I'm
You seriously telling me that doesn't scare you?
I just want a second opinion.
Oh, Kits, I'm so sorry.
Yesterday, your life was perfect. You were playing tennis. You had a big anniversary. Today, you're lying in a hospital bed trying to figure out the best way to say goodbye, maybe forever, to your teenage children.
Stress. Do you want to DM me in Discord?
Why are you doing this?
Because I can't deal with lies. If you lie to me, my answers won't help you. But if you're scared, I can help you.
So he needs cardiac bypass surgery pretty urgently. So I mean they think he's on the verge of having a heart attack.
Can't be back here.
Oh, I need a knife. Where do you keep the knives people
And so they
forget
need
they're
to
traveling
bypass
with?
where they need to put a new vessel in
I do also need a narrow 6-foot tube and high-proof
go
alcohol
around
and
the
gloves
area
and
where his
baggage
heart
handling
is
tape,
starting to get
but I'm
blocked.
going to get the alcohol from the duty-free store and the tube from the back of the soda machine.
Well, I wish you all the luck with that, but I'm not going to give you a knife.
No, I need a knife. It's very, there's a medical emergency. There's a medical emergency. That one right near the top looks very sharp. Would you get it for me?
Well, I'm not going to give you a knife.
Asking for a knife from
There's
security?
not the time.
Weapon!
Oh, come on. Don't do that.
Move! Get out of the way! Drop it!
He's not a very good runner.
Idiot! You're lucky we didn't just shoot.
No! He's trying to save my son's life.
Yeah. If he's going to steal a knife like that, he better be faster.
I made him a deal. He's got a meeting with Dr. Max from psychiatry at 6.
I know, they just let him go.
By 8, we can operate first thing in the morning.
You did pass anatomy, right, Dr. Brown? The problem's in his heart, not his head.
He's not psychologically ready for surgery. He will be, soon.
Oh, he is physically ready. So get the consent. We're prepping R6 now.
Do I need to cite you the 17 studies that show a correlation between attitude and outcome in surgical patients?
Do I need to remind you that I am your superior? You do know what the opposite of superior is, right?
Ooh.
Subordinate?
Sure. Subordinate or inferior, either way.
It doesn't mean I'm wrong.
I suppose not. But it does mean you have to act like you're wrong.
He's panic-stricken.
This is really good.
He was young and healthy.
Dialogue.
Today, he's mortal. Just give him a chance to wrap his head around that.
Dr. Kalu, do you think you can get me a signed informed consent on 104?
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay, so we watched Scrubs, we watched Grey's. I kind of like comparing some of these shows. So one of the running themes is that the higher ups, you know, are especially the one just right above you is just a total a-hole. They're a huge dickhead. They did it in a very cartoonish way in Grey's Anatomy. You know, they go meet Bailey for the first time, and she won't even shake their hand. She just barking orders at him. She's saying, you know, completely unrealistic expectations to them, etc. They cartoonized it in that. And also, like Dr. Cox in Scrub, obviously he's a cartoon. That's for humor. This is actually pretty realistic right here. He's being snarky. He's showing her like, I'm in charge, so you do what I say. And she's disagreeing with him. She's the well-to-do, she's well-meaning intern, resident in training. And sometimes as interns and residents, you are right and your attending's wrong, but it doesn't matter. You have to do what they say in the end. You really do have to do what they say because they're in charge. They're in charge of the outcome. I've had discussions like this with my attendings when I was an intern or a resident, and I would, you know, do the, well, I have 17 studies to back up what I say, and look at all the research and blah, blah, blah. And the attendings just rolling their eyes going, whatever, I don't fucking care. This is how I do it, so fucking do it. Because I'm in charge of you. So this was actually a very accurate dialogue, I feel like, to show the beginning of their relationship with him as the boss of her. What's up, Kiriyami? How are you?
You think he's right?
You cringe every time you see these?
I think he's my boss.
This is one of the better ones.
And if I have to choose between my boss and the woman I'm screwing.
True. They could have been partners in crime,
Not much of
Kiriyami.
a choice, am I right?
The number of attending I've seen in surgery like this is nuts. By the way, Kiriyami is a doctor, guys. He's a surgery resident.
Excuse me.
So this is perfect
Excuse
to
me,
have
please.
his commentary in here. So it looks like you agree with what I just said. Yeah, they like the dickhead with the low-key heart. Exactly. So he can kind of redeem himself a little bit later. How do they not know that someone is hurt also? Shouldn't have people set it up? Okay. Actually, Sprinkles makes a really good point. He's a genius. There's 2 doctors there. Nobody assigned someone to call 911. Nobody assigned anybody to go activate any kind of emergency system in the airport. Nothing. No one got an AED. No one got a first aid kit. Like, they're in an airport, a big airport that should have resources. There might even be other doctors.
2 ribs down.
So, good call, Sprinkles. So I'm assuming he dumped alcohol all over him to like sterilize. And he's putting a chest tube in.
Okay, well, why the bottle?
The air will continue to leak and accumulate until the damage can be properly repaired. The tube allows the air to get out. The water in the bottle stops the air from coming back in.
Yeah.
A homemade one-way valve. He's breathing.
It's pretty cool.
You saved his life. He saved his life.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so good and bad about this. I think the contraption he made actually would work. I think it would work. What we would use in the hospital instead of fluid in the container to trap the air is they actually have vacuum sealed bottles that keep the air in. Okay, so he does this procedure where he puts a chest tube in, but which is actually, it is eventually the definitive treatment besides surgical repair, but it is like the definitive treatment to stabilize the patient who has a tension pneumothorax, who's got air surrounding their lungs. It's starting to collapse their lungs. It's building pressure up in their chest. It could be putting pressure on their heart, which it looked like it was putting pressure on the veins and the return of blood to the heart because his veins were popping out in his arm. So this is the definitive thing to do before surgery. But all that time, while he's off getting alcohol, he's off getting a tube, he's off being chased by security while he grabs a knife, etc., no one's doing anything to help him. So, and there's no 911 that's been called, no emergency activated system, nothing, no other help from anybody in the airport, no AED to analyze heart rhythm, make sure he's not like losing his heart function. And if they really wanted to make sure that he's not in like extremis and immediate danger from this, but before going off and getting this, homemade MacGyver kit for a chest tube, they should have just poked a hole and released the pressure first. So this, they made the focus on his being medical MacGyver because it's fun, and that actually I think may have worked. But 2 problems with that. 3 problems with that. They didn't call 911. They didn't activate any emergency services, at least that I can see, or he didn't assign anyone. No one else has responded. He didn't decompress the air. And 3, doing this kind of procedure out in public with no tools, he cannot prove the diagnosis. There's no way he knows for sure. What if he fucked this up? That's like, he might kill the person. That's like medical malpractice. Like, I don't think anyone would really do this advanced of a procedure out in the field like this without confirmation of what was going on. But that said, it is the proper thing to do eventually. And I do think his little MacGyver contraption would probably work. I don't know how much the alcohol would really sterilize dumping whiskey on there.
Sean, where are you?
Why do they blow into the glove?
Call me as soon as you can.
Probably just to make it easier to pop on. I've never done that.
The new doctor, this is about you. They're baiting you and you're letting them.
Maybe.
Maybe what? What mistake are you talking about?
You're shot.
1,000%, man. You kind of get a bit more street cred as the years go by in residency.
It's also
Yeah.
disrespectful.
Well, you don't show him respect. I assume it's because you don't respect him.
You show someone respect because you respect them or because you're afraid of them. I don't fit into either category.
Well, neither do I.
You should.
Yeah, he never pointed out
You're only
someone
in
to call the
that room because
ambulance.
Your grandfather founded this hospital.
Yeah, the hierarchy is
I'm
strong
gonna
in
pretend
medicine.
that this conversation didn't take this tangent and instead focus on something relevant. The debate you were losing. Here's how you win this. You do not make it personal. You do not make it about you. That is what they want, and if you give it to them, you will lose.
The kid is dead already just from the time he took no chest compression, emergency tracheotomy. Also, a lot of places have Good Samaritan laws where an attempt to save someone exempts you to assault charges and whatnot to a point. True. I don't know if Good Samaritan laws would cover a procedure that advanced.
What are we supposed to do now? This is the third school.
But yeah, you're right.
We'll find another school. No, we won't, 'cause nothing's
Yeah,
gonna
he might have
change.
already died. Like, they didn't
We can't
decompress
handle
the
him.
air.
I don't blame them, because obviously we can't handle him either. What the hell happened this time? What happened?
You're hurting him.
Uh-oh.
What did you do? Sean! No! You stop petting a stupid rabbit!
It changed.
That's terrible. What's
The
up,
Boise
Jinxie?
CG changed.
It's the same. 86 BPM.
No, it used
Oh,
to be
you're
higher.
4 years in,
No, it used to be
Kiriani?
86. It's still 86.
You still have
It
like
used to come up to here.
4 more?
Lower amplitude means lower voltage. Lower amplitude means lower voltage.
What's going on? What does it mean?
It means he's trying to read 20-year-old equipment while traveling in a vehicle going 40 miles an hour.
How did you get him to sign?
I simply
Gonna have
told
to
him
side
keep
with the
it consistent
paramedic on that
going
one.
home. Then I gave him 2 phones and told him to pick one.
That's not accurate enough equipment to make that
Highlighted
type
the
of
release
distinction.
against medical advice form that mentions a possibility of death or permanent disability.
You need a real 12 lead EKG.
Well done. Having the Mets in a pickup, I'm isolating ascending aorta.
That's good.
But
What is
again,
that?
they're trying to show that he picks
Under
things
left
up that
atrium.
other people don't.
Something
So
white.
we'll give him that creative license,
Is
I
that
guess.
part of the lung?
It's pus. Do you have TB?
No, he doesn't have it.
No, not currently. Does he have a
When
history?
he was younger, it was explosion.
This is an abscess. It's gonna.
Section of left lunge, BP's crushing.
2 liter saline wide open.
Set up level 1. 2 units pack cells now. Get lead fed on board and keep that map at 60. Get in there with the suction. I can't see a damn
Yes,
thing.
the main character Sean has
when he hears he would have died in his room if we
high
waited till
functioning
tomorrow.
autism with
Dr.
savant
Melendez, we've got an
features.
incoming 8-year-old male, pneumothorax stabilized, but undetermined internal injuries. Who do you want to catch?
Claire, I don't think we need you. This patient is going to be fine. Now.
Okay, so I don't know how they didn't catch that he had an infection before they went into surgery. Like, surgeons are notorious for like being overzealous about canceling any procedure if there's even the tiniest remote fraction of a risk that they have an infection. And they'll do like huge shotgun workups to make sure that there's no infection before they open up anyone's body, and for good reason. And as a medicine doctor who is in charge of like taking care of them before surgery and after surgery, I actually sometimes even found it frustrating because I felt like they were even too extreme about it. It was like, you know, if their urine even looked a little orange, they would just be like, nope, we're not doing surgery until we have 1,000% proof there's no infections going on. So I don't know how they would have missed that he had an abscess in his chest cavity. Second, I'm not sure why they went right, why the doctor jumped right to TB. I think it's because TB elicits like fear from the audience. Like people know what TB is, and that's not how TB presents. Like TB doesn't have giant, gross pustular abscesses. They just did this to create drama in the OR. That's all.
8-year-old healthy boy. Status post-encounter with a shattered glass sign. Numerous lacerations.
Echo.
Get him set up in trauma 3 with an EKG, full blood work, and a PAM scan.
No eye
You need
protection.
an echocardiogram?
Who is this guy?
He helped with first aid at the airport.
I'm the doctor. He needs an echocardiogram. Where are you taking him?
To surgery. All cardiac vital signs are within normal
Would someone
range.
just
Do you
walk
have
in like
any
that?
ID?
No, his
probably
heart.
not.
It's his heart.
His heart is fine. I'll stay here.
Adam needs an echocardiogram.
No, behave yourself.
They would deal with
or
it in
you'll
the
be removed from
triage
building.
outside of the OR and let them focus on the surgery. They might have like a circulating nurse come in and let them know what's going on, but not they wouldn't just barge in like that. Tell the surgeon. There's ER doctors, there's other attendings in the hospital that can also manage new cases.
What's that?
A one-way valve.
It's a running
EMT
theme.
reports the boy suffered
The
a
main
pneumothorax.
characters always are asked to do more than what
That is cool.
would be asked in real life. Like work is broken up a lot in the hospital because
Do you think
want
we should
people
do an
doing
echocardiogram?
Based on the presenting
special
symptoms,
tasks
which
right in
give
front
no
of them
indication that an
at that point in time.
echocardiogram is necessary, I'm going to answer no. Am I missing something?
No, sir.
They did this in Grey's, like way worse, where like Grey is, she's getting the patient from the helicopter at the roof, then like walking them down to the lab and walking them down to the CT scan by herself, as the doctor. She's responding to the code. She's running the code. She's doing the CPR. She's holding the defibrillator. She's running the defibrillator machine. She's literally fucking doing every single thing. That's a running theme in medical shows, and they just did that in a smaller degree here. Like, Melendez is a main character. He's in the middle of an intense surgery. They're not going to walk in and start asking him to triage new patients. They probably have someone else triage that new patient and then tell him, just to let him know about it. Maybe.
Knife?
Yeah, behave yourself. I mean, he doesn't understand social norms that well, and I think that's what they're trying to show. He's very tunnel visioned on kind of universal truth, black and white, and like unaware of the environment that it's occurring in, which I think is a pretty common issue with autism. Yeah, he has high functioning autism with savant features.
We don't normally treat rabbits, especially.
So he has like perfect photographic memory and stuff like that.
No, I can see that, but even if I was a vet, the rabbit is dead.
Yeah, Kiryami probably
sorry,
knows
guys.
more about the more day-to-day like kind of surgery operations than I do. I'm sure he does.
What do we do now?
Well, you should bury him, I guess. I don't know. Give
Yeah,
him
he's a terrible runner, right,
nice
Ye?
funeral.
Has he gone to heaven?
Yeah, sure he has.
No, I don't want him to go to heaven. I want him to be here.
This won't happen again.
It can't happen again. He's dead.
I know that. I mean, nothing like this is ever going to happen to us ever again. Because we're not going home. We're never going home again. We have each other, and that's all we need.
Oh, that's sad. I appreciate the hospital scares and overly cruel like they tend to portray. I think they're good
Not
at
just information,
so far.
but sympathy.
I'll say before he gets into his speech here, like whatever he's gonna say, I think this show so far has done a good job of like showing dramatic interactions, but being a little more subtle about them than shows like Grey's and Scrubs. Scrubs is over exaggerated for humor, but like Grey's does it for drama. I think so far they've done a good job. Like they're showing really dramatic, tense interactions in the hospital, but they're still more subtle and believable.
Empathy. Can Dr. Murphy do that? He can't even reliably show up for a job interview. Are you going to sit here and tell us that there were no other equally qualified young surgeons? Surgeons without this one's issues?
No. Which is why, exactly why, we should hire Sean. We should hire him because he is qualified and because he is different. How long ago was it that we wouldn't hire black doctors in this hospital? How long ago was it that we wouldn't hire female doctors at this hospital?
So you're comparing being African American or a woman with being autistic? Please, go on.
I mean, I appreciate his point. It's really not that long ago that medicine was a highly sexist, male-dominated field. And, you know, I think also overrepresented by white doctors as well. That's caught up now. But just to give you an example, I remember, I'll never forget this scene this is from my med school experience. I was in my OBGYN rotation. And for those of you who don't know, like OBGYN these days is highly dominated by female doctors and female nurses. It's something like 80% women now get all the doctor positions in OBGYN and residency. And I think a lot of that's just because of interest level. And so there's way more female applicants. But I was sitting in this conference in this field that is now dominated by females. And there's all these young female residents and a few male residents. And the entire stage of attending teachers were old men, old white men. So I think, you know, this is a really good point. Like, it wasn't that long ago that like women had to fight to be doctors, and, you know, being black or being, you know, some minority group, like some minority race, made it so it was difficult to become a doctor or even impossible. And so now why don't we talk about that with, you know, mental health issues? I think it's a good point.
The rationalization is exactly the same. Words like temperament and, oh no, oh, how are the patients going to react? Aren't we judged by how we treat people?
Grey's implies all men.
I don't mean as doctors, I mean as people.
Or children who can't function.
Especially those who don't have the same advantages that we have. We hire Sean and we give hope to those people with limitations, that those limitations are not what they think they are, that they do have a shot. We hire Sean.
Peds is similar, yeah.
We make this hospital better for it. We hire Sean, and we are better people for it.
You think medicine's still sexist?
Better people.
I think there's still some sexist
Spending a lot more
tendencies for
on
sure.
malpractice insurance.
But it's not sexist. Oh, hold on, let me pause. Thank you, Jinxie. Aw, thank you. Are you feeling better? Jinxie just got over having COVID. So I know that medicine has caught up in terms of like the amount of female applicants and like female matriculating doctors. Like, it's caught up to societal percentages. So like 51% of all med students are female. So like they've caught up. Jinxie, stop. Oh my gosh. Jinxie is the top bit leader and gift subber. My God, Jinxie, thank you so much for your support. You're amazing. I'm guessing someone got paid today. The doctor will see you now. Oh, Sir Spins, thank you for the follow. Thank you. All right, that was a natural little break from the show. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for the follow, Sir Spins. Thank you, Jinxie. So what makes you think medicine's still sexist, Kiryami? Because I do see some of that. I do think it's improved quite a bit. But of course, we have a pretty low ceiling when it's like women weren't even allowed to go to medical school. So like where I went to medical school, they finally opened it up to women, I think in the 70s. I swear to God, in the 70s. That's not that long ago. It's ridiculous, right? Same with black students. It was similar time. It was like 60s, 70s. So, yeah, there's a lot of that to overcome. So I think this is a really topical show here with like discrimination in the field.
Sponge stick.
Oh, thank you for the hydrate too, Jinxie. We'll be better people by spending more on malpractice insurance.
86.
I think they're trying to make him look like a
Certain. He's been a rock. It's barely changed.
business board D-bag
Something's
doctor.
changed. Something's different.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I missed what they were looking at
More
here.
on malpractice insurance.
What was his heart rate 5 minutes ago?
Wait. Hold on. Okay. So since we have a pause frame, sorry that this thing's here. This is how I'm streaming this without the digital copy protection on like Netflix and stuff. I found a website, but this ad always pops up when I pause. But we have a clear shot of their monitor. So let's take a look at it, see if it's accurate. This is what a monitor would look like. Heart rate is normal in the 80s. They have a good blood pressure reading here, 110/73. Is oxygen saturation is 95. Looks fine. The waveforms look okay. And then here's the rhythm strip. So this is not a highly detailed, accurate like 12 lead EKG. Like this is a rhythm strip, but you can still see some things from it. And it looks pretty normal. Like this is normal like QRS complex, P wave, T wave. The only thing that looks a little odd is this is bigger than this one. So I don't know if that's just poor representation. You know, like they just used a stock animation and this happened to be on there. Like there's a little irregularity or like inaccuracy in here.
What was his heart rate 5 minutes ago?
86.
You sure?
Certain.
So that was a pretty standard looking monitor. And all his vitals were fine.
Changed. Something's different. You asked earlier about an echo. You had no medical reason, but you asked.
Oh, Spins are doing a watch party. Nice, dude. Welcome,
There was
Spins.
this weird guy, the one that did the one-way valve. He kept insisting that the boy needed an echocardiogram.
You didn't say why.
He was really weird.
He was really weird.
His blood pressure's dropping. That makes no sense. He's not bleeding anymore. Everything's under control.
Do an echo.
Sir, the boy's wide open. It's gonna take a while.
Good. That'll give me time to figure out why the hell we're doing an echo. Dr. Brown, you're with me. We're gonna go find your weird guy. Keep him stable.
Why the?
All right, so I'm not sure why they're doing an echocardiogram. Just because some weird guy on the street told them to? They still haven't mentioned, I think, among the staff that he's been hired as a resident there. At least they're arguing about it in the boardroom. It sounds like he was already hired. And they're just like, get the echo anyway. That doesn't make any sense to me. You got to have a reason why. Everything looked normal on the monitor. I'm not really sure why they're ordering it. I guess they're just blindly trusting him, I guess.
Echo.
Okay.
Also, it doesn't take that long to do a bedside echocardiogram if you have an expert ultrasound tech or cardiologist right nearby. They can just roll on the ultrasound and just do it right there. It's non-invasive.
Okay.
Oh, and for those who don't know what an echocardiogram is, it's just an ultrasound of your heart. It's just a live photo animated ultrasound of your heart.
Okay. I understand you think he needs an echocardiogram. We just don't know why.
Old white men in neurosurgery.
There was a slight reduction in the intensity of the electrocardiogram.
The electrical flow, I noticed that too. The heart rate was the same, but the amplitude dropped.
I think that's surgery fields in general.
Reduced cardiac output
would stress other organs,
causing them to shut down.
Yes.
All right, I'm sorry. I missed what he said. I'm doing this poorly. Talking too much. Let me go back.
Well, I noticed that there was a slight reduction in the intensity of the electrocardiogram.
The electrical flow, I noticed that too. The heart rate was the same, but the amplitude dropped.
Pericardial effusion.
Reduced cardiac output
would stress other organs,
causing them to shut down.
Yes.
Hold on.
Okay. So reduced amplitude on an EKG, and especially showing reduced amplitude and then a large amplitude and then reduced amplitude and then a large amplitude. It's called electrical alternans. It's a sign that the heart is swinging around in fluid, that it's surrounded by fluid. If that's what they're talking about, the effusion. That is a sign of that on electrocardiogram. I would not use a rhythm strip to make that diagnosis. I would have done a 12-lead EKG first and then ordered an echocardiogram if I had some suspicion of that. So I don't know why he would have a pericardial effusion. Maybe there was some glass that like broke into his chest wall or something. I don't know how it could have happened, but and caused fluid to surround the heart too. But that is what you would see on an EKG. That's not the process that you would use by using a bedside rhythm strip monitor. You would do a real EKG first.
Yeah, we're coming right back up. Thank you. They did the echo. It's normal. No pericardial effusion.
No, it has to be. There is no other explanation.
The echo is normal, which means we just wasted our time.
No.
Oh, they left someone. That's true. Oh, good point, Karyami. Yeah. So we talked about this before. Like breaking scrubs is a big fucking deal. You break being sterile in the OR is a big deal. Now they have to completely re-sterilize to go back in, which takes a long time. And everyone's got to wait for them. Oh, looks like we're buffering a little bit. They're just going to have them like walk back in like it was no big deal. Just bring all that bacteria back into the OR.
Again?
Maybe they don't know he was hired. Yeah, maybe.
Again?
Yeah, there's a lot of malpractice if they're wrong. They're making a lot of guesses here.
There.
Looks normal to me.
It's not normal. There's a concave deformity in the right atrium.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is. It's very subtle.
Even if you are right, that's not where a pericardial effusion manifests.
Not usually. But it could. This kid was sprayed with glass shards.
They're better people. They got insurance. They'll be fine.
But his jugular. What if a piece of glass entered his bloodstream?
Why are they mad at him?
Could have traveled down the jugular vein, into the brachiocephalic vein, and onto the superior vena cava. If it punctured the SVC, the blood could be leaking behind the heart, restricting the heart's ability to expand and fill during diastole, reducing the heart's efficiency.
No.
Lot of ifs there.
Dr. Chen.
No, that's not how that would work. They should have seen like fluid around the heart, and like when there's fluid in the little so the space around the heart, the little connective tissue that surrounds the heart and the space in there is extremely small. It's fucking tiny. It is tiny. Like I think it's something like 50 cc's of fluid or something in an acute situation can cause fluid to surround the whole heart and cause cardiac tamponade, which means that there's now enough pressure around the outside of the heart just from like 50, 100 cc's of fluid that it can't fill anymore because it's too constricted. So it can't open up enough to fill up with blood. It wouldn't just happen in like one little area like that. Like They just did that. They just did that so they could argue some more. Like, oh, the echocardiogram's normal. Oh no, but there is some even weird. Like, this case is already insane. This case is already insane. This kid had glass fall over him at the airport. He had a tension pneumothorax. They did MacGyver shit to save him at the airport. Now he has also cardiac tamponade and pericardial effusion. He's dying. Like, I never heard of an effusion the way she's trying to present it.
Pair of 14 gauge on syringe.
And she's saying a piece of glass would have had to like travel up
All in favor of ratifying
from the
Dr.
vessels
Glassman's decision
in
hiring
the
Dr.
abdomen
Sean
where his
Murphy.
glass wound was, all up into the heart. It would shred the vessels on the way up there. He'd be bleeding
All
internally.
against?
Excuse me.
Is this a medical emergency?
No medical emergency.
You weren't supposed
Yes,
to interrupt.
I know, but you need to go online.
It gets better.
What site?
Well,
Pretty
I mean,
much any of them.
I'm enjoying
Twitter,
it.
YouTube, any local news site.
But, you know, these shows are notorious for missing things and over-dramatizing the way they diagnose.
The YouTube clip already has over 200,000
It's the longest you've gone without quitting in a while. Carry on me.
Dr. Sean Murphy saved this boy.
The boy is in OR2. Dr. Melendez isn't sure if he's going to make it.
His autism behavior seems pretty good so far. That's a lot of what's keeping me interested is how they're gonna use that.
Can't handle a knife.
Why did you warn me about respecting Dr. Andrews?
Like they're showing pros and cons of
What's going on?
him being an autistic
I'll
savant.
always be here to protect you.
You think you're gonna lose?
Everybody loses. Eventually.
So you're gay?
You binged an entire season in one night? These are like 45-minute episodes. Holy crap, dude. He's in the OR with what credentials and what ID? Wait, was he in the was he in the OR? Was he actually in the OR?
Looks normal to me.
It's not normal. There's a concave deformity in the right atrium.
No, there's not.
I think they might be standing right out in the
Even
viewing
if you
area.
are right, that's not where a pericardial
But
effusion
still,
manifests.
your point about him not having any credentials, they're just like, yeah, show him the echo. He could just be some weird guy off the street. They don't even know who he is. That is a legit criticism for sure.
Excuse me.
Is this a medical emergency?
No medical emergency.
You weren't supposed to
Yes,
bring
I
him on
know,
in.
but you need to go online.
Let's have an echocardiogram party.
Pretty much any of them. Twitter, YouTube, any local news site.
What's up, Kay? How are
The YouTube
you?
clip already has over 200,000 views. Apparently, he's one of our
Who is
doctors.
she? Who's who?
Dr. Sean Murphy saved this boy.
Her? She's
The
a
boy
lawyer.
Is in OR2. Dr. Melendez isn't sure. if
She's
he's
the
going to make
hospital
it.
lawyer. Oh, my beard. Oh, she. Who is she?
Your fiance sure can't handle a knife.
I can't grow it very well up here anymore, so I'm gonna grow it on
Why did you warn
here.
me about respecting Dr. Andrews?
Sorry, I'm not cool. I'm not hip. I'm old. I'm a boomer.
What's going on?
I'm not gonna always be here to protect you.
You think you're gonna lose?
Everybody loses. Eventually.
So you're gay?
That's true. Everyone dies. Everyone dies. Everything we do is just a stall. I know it's dark, but it's true. Chisinau? Wait a minute, Pierre. We talked about this, dude. I've been to Chisinau.
Can we get a TV?
I did a medical mission trip
No.
to Moldova.
Why not?
Like 20 years ago.
Because we're poor, dude. We live in a bus.
Your joke is spot on.
Do you think Mom is looking for us?
Nope. She loves us. But she knows
It's
it's
sad over there. Actually, medicine is. They have to like withhold medical care to get patients to pay them enough money. The interpreters that I had over there said they made more money being an interpreter than they did working in their professional jobs, including even doctors probably.
I got you a present anyway.
How are you, Pierre? Yes, we do have an enhanced sense of human frailty for sure. I'm like thankful that 90% of my body still works when I wake up every day. And when I get old, like, just let me go. I don't want to go through any of this shit. Just let me go. Shoot, take me out back like Old Yeller. Just end it. He does have cute hair. He is a cute little cutie patootie. I'm guessing that's his comfort,
Kelly.
kind of comfort toy tool. So now he's standing in the OR. Yeah, he's standing in the OR.
Dr. Brown? You were right.
Where did it come from? I don't know.
I don't like pickles.
I know.
I don't want.
So for a piece of glass to get up there like it did, if they really went the way that she described, that like it goes through the vasculature and then goes back up into the heart, like that piece of glass would have torn something in the blood vessels somewhere along the way, and he would have been bleeding internally. And then if there was a piece of glass that big in a coronary artery, I mean, he would have had a full-on pericardial effusion. He would have had fluid all around his heart. It would have been swinging back and forth on the echocardiogram inside the fluid. You would have easily seen it. There wouldn't have been a normal echo in that whole scene where they fight over it. So this is that's not very accurate. So far, like, there have been a lot of things that have been fairly accurate. Like, that is how a tension pneumothorax would present. It would potentially happen from, a glass shard and a chest wall injury like that little kid had. The definitive treatment is a chest tube, and it would like save their life. And his MacGyver chest tube actually may have worked. Like, his little contraption may have been functional, but they miss details along the way. Like they get some of the more intense medicine stuff correct, but then they miss the smaller stuff, the more basic things that are really important, like calling 911, like just getting the air out of the lungs quickly before you do a procedure like that. Being sterile when you're in the OR, like having some ID when you're in that place, like, kind of over dramatizing some of the presentations of things. But the more intense medicine facts and presentations, like, they do get right. They miss some of the like more realistic details. Like, that's none of this stuff would actually happen this way. I do like their little animations and their anatomy book drawings and stuff as he's using his memory recall. But yeah, that piece of glass was really big and definitely would have presented a lot differently than what they said.
You saved that boy's life.
Oh, good. His name is Adam. Traumatic pneumothorax. I'm hungry.
Oh no, assisted living facility. I'll take care of you. Oh, Chai, I know you're going through it.
Can you stay here until I get back?
Busy and stressed. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Pierre. Hey, kick back and enjoy some TV with us, man.
Okay.
Wait, so he's gonna make him sit there and wait for an hour?
He's got a serious deficit.
Child is alive today because of that deficit.
Just hang out here for an hour.
Tomorrow
in the
one may be
cafeteria.
dead because of it.
I seem to remember that when I hired you, you weren't exactly making the most adult decisions. You haven't killed anyone yet, have you?
Oh, you were staying
Thankfully,
overnight,
there's
yeah,
a
because of the storm?
Cure for youth
You were
and
stuck in your
stupidity.
facility?
Time and experience.
There's a cure for stupidity. Okay. That would be a windfall.
I like that guy.
All Sean has is a diagnosis.
This guy right here, I like him. There's a cure for
like your help.
stupidity. That would be a windfall.
I take it I'm not going to get it. Okay.
Wait.
What's up near the storm? How are
What's
you?
the story with this kid? Why is this so important to you?
Why not?
Because letting things get personal is a sure formula for screwing things up.
I don't know. Letting things get personal is how we make it matter.
So are you proud or disappointed?
Do I have to pick just
So 2 of the board members are hooking up. 2 of the residents are hooking up and sneaking it in the call rooms. They're sneaking in the back hallways. Of course, of course.
Hey. You're new to town, right?
Yes.
So I don't necessarily think that the people who are against him working there as a surgeon are necessarily being discriminatory. I think they're just afraid. I think they're afraid. I mean, a lot of people sort of discriminate without realizing it or on accident out of fear. And maybe the fear stems from not understanding well enough. So there's this fear of the unknown. Like, is he going to make a mistake that could cost a patient their life? And so I hope that their mind and heart are in the right place. Like, they're objecting to his hire because they care about the patients and they want to make sure the patients don't have someone doing saving things that could possibly be a danger to them. So I'm hoping that as the show progresses, that it's more than just, oh, he made some YouTube worthy clip and saved someone's life. Yay. Like, I hope it's a lot deeper than that. I hope they show that some of these people who are afraid of him being in this role start to understand him as a person, but autism in general as well.
Well, I'm sure you have a lot of questions.
No.
You gotta be curious about the place, about the people.
Dr. Glassman gave
What's
me
up,
a map
Deluxe?
of
How
the
are you?
hospital, and I got a
Enjoy your
map of
lurk.
San Jose online.
People are afraid of what they don't know. Yep, I agree.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Why were you rude to me when we first met, then nicer to me the second time we met, and now you want to be my friend? Which time was it that you were pretending?
Sean, we're ready.
That's good. That was great. I really liked that dialogue right there. He's not. I mean, it sounds like a. Oh, busted. Like, but he doesn't mean it that way. He's really making more concrete observations. Wait, the first time we met, she was nice. Okay. How do I compute this? Second time, she wasn't nice. Third time, now she wants to be my friend. I'm not sure what to do with all this. How do I compute all this? And he's asking, I think he's just asking a legitimate question. And it shows her from, this very straightforward point of view. It's almost kind of like how like children see things just so black and white, and sometimes it can help us realize stuff that we miss. I think she's like, oh man, I really have been kind of hot and cold with you. But at the same time, it's also showing that he doesn't necessarily also understand the nuances of like social interaction, and that sometimes people are just, cold in certain situations and they're nice in other situations. And it's not always about pretending or, how they feel about you. It's also reacting to the situation too. So let's hope they find some middle ground, huh? They should be friends.
The vote was
they've
clear.
started
Why are we
her
reopening
as
this?
like
Is it really
the
because of a
thoughtful
piece of
resident that,
publicity?
like,
It's because
fights
the
for
man
good
just saved
patient care
somebody's
with her
life.
attending.
And thank God for that, but doesn't change a single
I
thing
hope
we
she's going to
discussed.
be a kind of a
Give him
good guy.
6 months. If he proves anything less than excellent.
Someone less than excellent means someone else dies.
Well, I would love to make you happy, Doctor. I would love to hire someone who never, ever makes a mistake. Unfortunately, God already has a job.
I can accept that he will have insights that none of the rest of us will have. Can you accept that he will make mistakes none of the rest of us will make? You won't be the one who pays the price.
If Sean doesn't live up to everything I know he can do, he will be immediately released. And I will resign my position as president of this hospital.
Oh, come on. No one would offer that.
We haven't heard
to
from
hire
Dr.
one
Murphy
person.
yet. Perhaps
But-
we should hear from him
And
before
they're going to
we
make him
decide
stick
his
to it
fate.
later, I'm sure.
Sean.
What? They're like talking about him like that and he's sitting right there? That's kind of awkward.
Dr. Murphy, I'd like you to tell us why you want to become a surgeon.
Why do I want them to be my friends?
Everybody needs friends, Sean. It's gonna be cool, okay? Play hide and seek, maybe?
Okay.
Tag in the warehouse?
What's going to happen here? Oh no. What's going to happen here? Where are they? It's like a railroad warehouse or something? Oh, okay. Must be where they like store railroad cars.
Hey, you know what?
The day that the rain smelled like ice cream, my bunny went to heaven in front of my eyes. The day that the copper pipes in the old building smelled like burnt food,
Yeah, you called it, Chai.
my brother went to heaven in front of my eyes. I couldn't save them. It's sad. Neither one had the chance to become an adult. They should have become adults. They should have had children of their own and loved those children. And I want to make that possible for other people. And I want to make a lot of money so that I can have a television.
Dr. Murphy. I want to be the first to welcome you to San Jose St. Bonaventure Hospital.
Wait, who the hell
We're
is
very proud
she?
to have you.
She just makes the decision for the whole room? What the hell?
Sean.
They spend the entire episode, like 8 of them, arguing about it. The president, you know, the head of this department, the lady who runs the money, her, you know, like the lawyer, like they're fighting over it the whole episode. And yes, it was a good speech. I'll get to that. But like, that she just gets up and is like, yep, never mind. Don't need anyone else's opinion in the whole room. You're hired. Okay, so this is the best scene in the episode, obviously. I think it's really good that they show he's capable of at least understanding a little bit about loss and, you know, grief and like feelings and stuff, because there's, you know, he obviously has a very hard time with his autism and like connecting with other people's feelings and emotions and like even expressing his own. You know, he's kind of robotic in the way that he speaks and moves and does and views the world. And there's a stereotype that like autistic people just can't feel anything. They don't feel anything, or they don't have any empathy. And, you know, clearly by this scene, that's not true for him.
Dr. Melendez's team is going into surgery.
His brother a bitch. Motherfuckers fall 10 feet and
if you're interested,
and think they deserve a damn funeral. What do you think? What? I was kind of surprised that he was just dead, you know? Like, most people who fell from that height, I don't know most, but I mean sure a lot of people who fall from the height would survive just fine. They'd have broken bones and maybe they'd be knocked out or... There are no forms to fill out, just straight to the heart. Yeah, they should have done a whole episode where he goes through HR to make it realistic. But Chai, I think the idea is that he already went through all that. He went through all the credentialing. He got vetted. He was officially hired to the hospital. And then the board was like, wait a minute, we didn't agree to this hire. And that's what they've been arguing about. It's like technically he was already hired there, and they were debating on whether they should allow the hire
section
or cancel it, basically. Fucking HR.
Never forget, you're the smart one. You can do anything. And I'm proud of you, Sean.
Yeah, Chai, I agree. It's a little much.
Have you seen any of these? I remember my first. Kept thinking it doesn't get any better than this. And for you, I'm afraid that's literally true. You're a nice kid, and you're obviously very smart. But you don't belong here. So as long as you're part of my team, this is all you're ever going to be doing. Suction.
Whoa.
I saw a lot of surgeons in medical school. You're much better than them. I have a lot to learn from you. You're very arrogant. Do you think that helps you be a good surgeon? Does it hurt you as a person?
He just gets right to it.
Is it worth it?
All right. So I think that last scene there, that's a bit much. You know, they're showing that attending as, you know, he's being kind of the classic stereotype, like God complex surgeon who, you know, is a little over the top with his authority, and he's snarky and whatever, but you know, it's still pretty realistic. Telling someone that they literally will be just doing suctioning the surgical field for your surgeries for the rest of their entire surgery residency is ridiculous. No, there's no way any higher ups in the program would ever put up with that, because you know what happens? You now have a surgery resident that's been there for 8 years and has done nothing except clean up your surgery fields with suction for 8 years. They're not a surgeon. They didn't learn anything. You didn't train them. They didn't get signed off on any of the procedures they're supposed to know how to do. And so now you wasted 8 years training somebody who can't go function as a surgeon. So there's no way that's gonna fly. There's no way. If any higher up got wind of what was said in that OR, that surgeon, that attending, what was it, Melendez? He would be in the principal's office immediately. Because their job is to train them and make sure they're ready to practice. And there's requirements, you know. You need to have done 100 of these procedures. You need to have done, you know, signed off on, you know, 10 of these, 15 of these, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these by the end of your, and, you know, have been supervised, done this many where you're the lead, taught this many to somebody underneath you, whatever it is, however, whatever their system is in surgery programs, various surgery programs, they're going to keep track of all that stuff. So if the attendings are just keeping this guy down and literally only letting him, you know, basically watch and suction the blood off the field, there's no way that would fly. That was just for drama. So, all in all, I think the intense medical facts of that episode were pretty accurate. Like, you know, that is how attention pneumothorax, you know, would appear, that all that stuff with the MacGyver probably would have worked. It's just like, would you actually do that stuff? Did he miss things he should have done in the meantime? Yes. Like, they miss things like that. They also miss a lot of the procedural stuff. Like, he doesn't have ID. They don't even know who he is. They're showing him, you know, echocardiograms, like HIPAA, hello, credentials. I think they overdid the rudeness of the attending a little bit at the end, but for the most part, I thought that was realistic. I thought a lot of the relationships they were building between people on the show was pretty realistic. But the overall, like, organization of how they get to things in medicine, way off. But what I'm really impressed by is the presentation of the autism. So I think a lot of, my guess is that there's probably a lot of people who are autistic or who have autistic family members who will probably see this show and they're like, okay, another fucking savant. We're always savants on TV shows. But I don't think you can really make a show about a surgery resident, you know, an autistic surgery resident work unless he's really high functioning, and then they throw the throw the savant thing in there for, you know, drama. So you know, like he's got things that are challenging. He has trouble interacting with coworkers. You know, he has trouble following rules. But they put up with that stuff because in some ways he's a level above everyone else there in mental capacity in certain areas. So I see why they do it that way. But my favorite scene was in the boardroom at the end, where he shows emotion and empathy, and that was really good. So, because I think that stereotype of autistic people can't feel anything, they don't have any empathy, they're just robots. Like, they seem robotic, but they're still human beings, you know. So I think that was really